Welcome to RVing in New England, the nation's only forum that puts you on stage with some of the biggest names in the RV industry. And now your hosts, John DePietro and Bob Zagami.
Oh, there you are.
Hey, everybody. Welcome once again.
Didn't see you there for a minute. Got your winter jacket on, huh?
I've got two of them on.
Oh,
two of them on. Yep. Wait a minute. Zagami, what are you wearing the yellow shirt for?
Because tomorrow I'm going to the KOA Conference in Orlando, Florida, and we had these made up specifically for when we do KOA events or go to KOA events. So I'm going to show up tomorrow in my yellow KOA yellow RVing in New England shirt.
So you're going to basically wear the same clothes 2 nights in a row?
No, I'm going to throw it in the washer after I get done with you tonight. See? So tonight is a little different. It is Wednesday.
Right. It's Wednesday. But before we get into the show, shouldn't we thank our sponsor?
Actually, we should. I didn't get a new ad from them this week. However, our sponsor is Lee's Auto and RV Ranch in Ellington, Connecticut. And they are a fantastic family business, 28 years in business. You can talk to Brian down there or Faith or Gracie. See their lineup of Class B motorhomes, teardrop trailers, great used inventory, great pre-owned inventory of pickup trucks, and a big dealer of Little Max teardrop trailers. So we thank them very much. And I will show one of their older ads at the halfway point, but they are with us always, and they must be selling so many because we didn't get a new video from them today, but I've got several others that we could run.
Well, you know what? Without our show, without our sponsors, we have no show. But also, just as importantly, if not more importantly, without our guests, our live studio audience. And we feed them well. You know, they come they sit in the green room beforehand, and they go out into the audience, and they're nice people. We should
Everybody show up on time. Jerry Plant's there. No snow on Cape Cod. Jim Roy, I'm early tonight. Where is everybody? Well, they're catching up to us. Dante's here on time. Estelle's here. No snow in New Hampshire either. You got snow in Worcester this morning, didn't you?
We did. And by the way, Walter Swenson is here. Walter told me last night at about 6 o'clock, it can't snow here because the temperature is too cold and it will evaporate before it hits the ground.
I saw that.
Walter also posted a picture of his sidewalk this morning.
Covered in snow. Oh.
Yeah.
Maybe he's not as proficient at weather forecasting as he is his engineering responsibilities at Dell. Maybe that
very well could be.
Tim Conboy's here from New England RV Roof. Tim Christensen is here from Tim's RV up in Irving, Mass. I saw you post the OVR the other day. Tim, I assume that's in stock now up there. That's their new ruggedized RV. You'll hear us mention that a couple of times tonight. Yes, sir. What is your problem?
So, Zagami, you're introducing a new word into the RV vocabulary. Let's see what our audience thinks about it. Ruggedized. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Zagami is rewriting the English dictionary and including the word ruggedized in his eloquent elocution.
I don't think I can claim credit for it. I think I stole it from somebody else or somebody's brochure, but I think it's a legitimate word. But why don't our audience tell us what they think ruggedized is in relationship to RV.
Yeah. Yes.
Hey, Mark Lebrecht is on. I hope to see Mark down here soon. He was impacted by the Hurricane Ian in Fort Myers. He saw the white stuff today up at his house because he's up on a hill there, so he's seeing it.
You skipped right over Tony from Stressless.
I see it, Tony. Doggone it. Our feed didn't start. I wasn't late. Promise.
Tony. Where's Tony right now? Is he in New Mexico? Is he in Arizona? Is he
bought a house in New Mexico, I think.
Yeah, but
from the Stressless Camping Report show and blog.
Right.
And he does a lot of product reviews, which you now can find on his site. And in case you want to see it, I tell you, we changed the thing up a little, the format a little bit up tonight. Tonight's going to be more like FDR's Fireside Chats, because we have been so straight out the last 2 weeks and we're playing catch up with everything. We thought there's so much happening, and we talked about it earlier tonight when we taped our opening for our other show. The amount of news coming out of the RV industry the last 2 weeks has been extraordinary. And there's always news, but I mean, we could probably go 2 hours, 3 hours tonight just talking about some of the things we jotted down. So tonight's going to be more like a fireside chat, and we'll cover a lot of topics. And certainly, if any of the ones that caught your fancy on the pre-show graphic, we'll let you know on that.
Before we get into the news stuff, I just want to go over a couple things, because you know what? It's not really the end of the camping season in New England until the snow falls. But sometimes Jason Cole and Kavosa and those guys, that doesn't matter for them. They're going out anyway. But
they've been out the last couple of weekends.
Right.
They've been stretching it, yeah.
Yeah, well, stretching it. It's been 70 degrees.
Oh, so yeah, as you say, the temperature hasn't disappointed them.
Yeah. Right. You know what? Many times people don't wait until there's freezing temperatures before they decide to winterize. Mm-hmm. And I have been guilty of that in the past and had a froze up RV. Luckily, I was able to get it fixed without much of an issue. But when they winterize, not only do they winterize the tanks and the water hoses and all that other stuff, but also keep in mind when you're putting your unit away. Again, how can I tell you about these things? Because these are things that I didn't do at one time, but I learned. Keep your refrigerator door open. Okay, why? Mold, mildew, that type of thing. So what I always do is I get a roll of paper towels and use the cylinder, the cardboard cylinder at the end, and I put that in the door, and then I duct tape it so it keeps both the freezer and the refrigerator part open. Okay. Jerry, help me out with that mold product that our friend at Majors, I can't even think of his name. What's his name?
Huh?
What's his name? Our friend at Majors in the parts department. Not David. I'm looking right at him.
Jeff and Jill?
Jeff. That Jeff is so high on that I have in mind. So Jerry, tell us what that is. And
NOS guard for the mold. Yeah.
Yep. And also one more thing is to go through it one more time and look for leftover food that may be in a cabinet or a drawer or something, because everybody will tell you, yep, nose guard. Yep. It's available.
Nose or NOS? Is that supposed to have an E on it?
No, I think that's right. Yeah. So,
Walter's right, but I think Walter, I think he meant the cardboard after he used all the paper towel.
Cardboard cylinder just to keep them open.
Yeah, a lot of people use the pool noodles also.
Yep. Yeah, right. Exactly.
So Jerry actually has an intelligent question that he wants to talk about. Talk about the implications of Norcold moving manufacturing to Mexico. Well, it's a corporate decision, and they can do that. They're moving it out of Elkhart. I'm not sure what their reasoning was, but when people tend to go to Mexico, they tend to save money on labor and parts and what have you. And also, there could be a situation where everybody's trying to hire in Elkhart, and even with the slowdown now, it's just tough trying to hire people and keep them, because they change jobs quickly, so they probably feel they get a more stable workforce. Now, on that same topic, one of the things we had on our list tonight, if you folks didn't see it, was Lippert has made another major acquisition. Now, sometimes you don't see them as consumers. You don't see them unless they print them up in the trade publications or the consumer magazines, but there was a significant acquisition by Lippert last week, and they acquired a company called Way, W-A-Y, Interglobal Network. They're actually a competitor. They're a competitor to Furrion. They're a competitor to Lippert in general. They market a line of RV appliances that compete with Furrion. They're going to keep the Everchill refrigerator line and the Greystone, I think, refrigerator line, but they're going to bury those products into the Furrion division of Lippert. More importantly, if you've been to Elkhart recently, you probably saw this gigantic building, and part of the acquisition was a brand new warehouse that Way opened up just before dealer open house. They had the grand ceremony. The warehouse is 1.6 million, like in million square feet. And, the typical Amazon warehouses that people complain about going into their neighborhood, 200, 300,000 square feet. Picture this as 5 Amazon warehouses under one roof. So they have tremendous warehousing capacity, not only for the products that they picked up from Way, but I'm certainly sure, and probably the Furrion products will start getting warehoused there too. So that's one less competitor on the marketplace and another company under the Lippert umbrella.
Right. Now, along the same lines, as far as changing names, want to talk about the news about RV1 and RV Retailer going to a new corporate name that, interestingly, their logo is the same colors as Camping World.
Yeah. It was interesting. Caught everybody off guard. I saw John Ferrando out in Las Vegas, and there was no talk in Las Vegas about the upcoming name change. So they did an excellent job on keeping it buried. But RV Retailer, as of Monday, is now known as Blue Compass RV. And the colors are quite similar to Camping World, and they are a major competitor to Camping World in terms of number of locations and product lines sold. But all of their dealerships, which are right now number about 100 and well over 100, 150, I think 160, they change so frequently. All of them will be rebranded Blue Compass RV, including what they picked up from Country Camper in the new facility in Connecticut, the one in Vermont, and the one in New Hampshire. Those are the only 3 of their facilities will not be changed. And it's interesting that they've chosen those 3. Now, 2 of those are Airstream outlets, Airstream of Tampa, and I think maybe Atlanta. Those 2 are going to stay with the Airstream name.
Which is probably a requirement that you have to have Airstream in the...
well, that's what I thought, but the other
Airstream of so-and-so.
But the other one is Motorhome Specialist down in Texas. They're the largest single motorhome dealer in the country. So
right.
They're not going to mess with that particular.
No, they said that that's already a legendary brand.
Right.
So why mess with it?
Right.
And, from that end, but, like Colonial has down in New Jersey, they're a big Airstream dealer, but I think Airstream has to somehow appear in their name.
Well, they do. Even Pete's, Pete's has a
title.
Dealership, and it's called Airstream of Vermont. It's on the same lot in Burlington, and they're going to be building a new headquarters facility in South Burlington. They were leasing some land from the airport. If you've been up there, they're right close by the airport, and the airport has reclaimed that land. So they went out and bought a significant amount of land about 20 miles away. So that's going to be done. And I did talk to Chad recently and said, when are we going to see some more activity up in Maine at the Saco location? And I think by the spring, you might see some trailers and portable sales outlet there. But I don't think they're going to go much farther than the spring before they start using that as another selling outfit.
Did we see him in Las Vegas?
Did we see Chad?
Yeah.
Yeah. Chad was
there. Okay, that's right. You did an interview.
Chad was
right.
there. Randy Murray was there.
Yeah. So we should also tell our audience if there's anything in particular that you want an answer on, just like Jerry brought up the Norcold thing, just type it in and we'll answer your question. But there is so much news. And maybe we should tell them.
Tim had a comment. Wow, so Lippert bought a junk product. Neverchill is proper name. That was for the Everchill product line. They were a little rough getting that one out the gate for Way. But people, keep in mind over the last couple of years, if you had any product that worked, you could sell it in Elkhart.
And didn't work.
Yeah, and they were changing vendors left and right. I mean, you could get one product today, and the dealers were telling me this, and consumers saw this. Number one, consumers wound up going to pick up a unit that didn't have the products that they expected to have relative to what the microwave was going to be or what the air conditioner was going to be, and it was based on availability and the supply chain problems. And the same held true for appliances. If you had anything. So one of the things, and there was a lot of discussion about it in Las Vegas with the dealers. And interesting enough, last year we had 1,200 attendees at this meeting. And this is the single most important meeting of the year for RV dealers. Whether you do $1 million a year or you do 100 million or you do $1 billion, this is the most important meeting of the year for people, because it's all about education and training and certification and networking to see what's really happening. And the general consensus of the people that were there was that the business levels are going to go back to about the 2019 level, but the dealers recognize they're going to have to go back to the basics of selling, working harder. It's not going to be 10 people showing up on the lot with a checkbook and buying an RV. Well, that's how we always did business. So it's not that they don't know how to do that, but the last 2 years were very lucrative for anybody in this business, whether they were a manufacturer, a supplier, a campground, or a dealer. And that's going to change. And we see that right now. We see a lot of the dealers starting to drop their prices and advertise end of season specials, blowout specials. What did you come away from that show? What was your opinion coming away relative to the market conditions, John?
Well, you know what? I don't think anybody had any degree of caution or concern, even though interest rates are going to go up and are going up and have gone up, and product availability is greater, so that the opportunity to bargain a price is going to be greater. But I thought it was pretty upbeat. When you have an industry that has seen the gains that the RV industry has had in the past 2.5 years, they got to be pretty happy. And the interesting thing is, when we were in Palm Springs, California in 2020, just at the onset of COVID, Winnebago was talking about a 4% increase that year. And boy, it turned out more than 40%. Yeah. So they're pretty happy. And now, you know what? We're back to reality. I mean, it was unreal when you looked at those numbers, 400% over the previous year. People buying anything off the street, off the lot, just because it was there, because they couldn't go into hotels and didn't want to go into hotels. They're coming back to the reality. And you know what? They may have to teach their salespeople how to sell again and not just take orders. In fact, one of the seminars that I sat in on was not just an order taker anymore, with ways to, better serve the customers. Now, Walter brings up a very interesting.
I was just going to put that up on the screen. That the one you're talking about?
Yep. Okay. Yep. So here's the deal, Walter. There can be every seminar imaginable for this topic, and RVTI can get involved, and NRVTA can get involved, et cetera, et cetera. The reality is there ain't enough people to do the work. There just, and I say it for emphasis, there just aren't enough techs out there to do the work. When you figure the way the market was flooded over the last 2 years, the industry says one thing about, oh, they're working on it, but the reality is you got to have the bodies to do it, and you have to train them to do it. And until the training schools, such as RVTI and NERVDA, have a waiting list, I personally don't think that RECT is going to change much, which is a shame. An absolute shame.
I'm going to disagree with you on that. It's got to change. Number one, it definitely has to change. It got put to the side, I think, from a lot of dealers over the last 2 years because they were selling so many products and trying to hire technicians. And RECT means repair event cycle time. And the industry is trying to measure the amount of time from the time the customer drops off the unit until the time that they pick it up. And there was some games played by some of the people.
Till they pick it up fixed.
Right. Yeah. But there was some games played that they weren't recording it, or if there was a part on order, they took it out of the monitoring system until the part came in. They are recommitted as an industry to this initiative. And Gary Enright, who was spearheading the project while he was working at Cummins Onan, has since retired from Cummins, and he is now a consultant to the industry, and he's still going to spearhead this initiative. So he's got all the history of the last 2 years and all the forms. They have the buy-in from the 3 major dealer management software products that our dealers use. It's IDS and Motility and Lightspeed. Those, 95% of our dealers all have one of those software products. All 3 of those companies have written integrations to the dealer management software and the service management modules to properly record the repair event cycle time. Now, one of the other things that Gary has promised to do, and I've already written to him, is they found out at open house, they did an informal survey of dealers that they ran into, and only about 10% of the dealers really knew about RECT or had paid any attention to it at all. And that's what kind of crystallized their thinking and said, hey, we have to restart this, and we have to do a lot more to make sure people understand what it is, how to use it, and how to do the proper reporting. Otherwise, we're never going to solve the supply chain problems, and we're never going to solve the technician problems. So I've already written to Gary. He wants to have regional groups so that they take it down to the regional level of the dealers, not have everything up here at the national level, and then they don't read about it. They don't open the report. They don't even ask their software salesperson, or the software salesperson doesn't say, oh, by the way, what are you doing about your RECT module? So I have said to Gary, I want to be responsible for the New England group, and we'll have our New England dealers, and we'll have our own group that'll become part of the national group. I haven't heard back from him yet. I don't know why he wouldn't do it, but I'm with you, Walter. I'd talk about it every week. I think it's a critically important thing. But now, here's another thing, and this is not to knock our dealers, but I know everybody is busy. And I know everybody's trying to hire technicians. And I know everybody's got a lot full of inventory that they have to go to. You heard me say earlier, RVDA International Convention in Las Vegas every year is the single most important meeting a dealer can attend and should attend. And we've got over 25 dealers in NERVDA in New England, almost close to 30. We had 4 of them in Las Vegas. We had Campers Inn RV. We had Cold Springs RV. We had Hemlock Hill.
Longview.
And we had Longview. Right. Yep. And we had Pete's. So we had 5. We had 5 dealers out of, say, 25. So maybe 20% of our dealers went out there. And I was talking to a dealer the other day. It was a very good dealer, runs a good deal, makes a good profit. So he's a smaller dealer, has a good customer following base. And I said, we missed you in Las Vegas. And he said, I hate to tell you this, but I have never, ever been to Las Vegas. I have never gone to an RVDA International Convention. Now, that doesn't mean if you don't go, you're going to have a bad business. It doesn't mean if you don't go, you're a bad person, but there are tools and resources available. There are networking. So you get to talk to a Gary Enhart up close and in person. You got all the major software, all the major suppliers that you deal with, they're there. And all the training companies, all the advertising, there was a tremendous number of social media and marketing seminars out there. If you don't take advantage of it, you're putting yourself at a disadvantage.
You're absolutely right.
People are doing it, and they should be doing it every year. Even if you only send one person and have that one person come down. In fact, John and I, as NERVDA, had more representation for NERVDA than some of the dealers that went out there. So figure it out.
Bob, one point I want to bring up.
Yep.
Before I forget it. And you say, well, it's got nothing to do with RVCT. It doesn't. But at this convention, they began their annual meeting with the playing of the American and the Canadian national anthem. And all 1,500 to 1,800 people in that room stood. And I looked around at the end of the rows, and there was nobody sitting, nobody taking a knee. And I think that's very rare today to see a business that is in such solidarity with good American values. And you say, well, what's that got to do with the business? Well, it's got everything to do with business, because the people that are RVers are generally not take-a-kneers. They're a different crowd whatsoever. And I was very impressed with that. And I know you mentioned it, that everybody stands. And I looked around, and they were standing. And there was nobody chatting, nobody having a side conversation during that time with both those anthems. Let me ask you, audience, is that a factor to you? Does your company, does your industry ever have a meeting and, still have the flag waving? So anyway.
It's something I look forward to every year at this conference. It makes me very proud of our country, but it also makes me very proud that we have an industry that we can also enjoy and thrive, and we get a chance to sell to people who think the way that we think and trust in their family values. They have tremendous work ethics. You look around, you're at all these RV dealers, especially many of our multi-generational family dealers here in New England. They're on their second, third, or fourth generation of people who are continuing to build that business and bring quality product and services to the customers. Let me address one of Walter's questions. He says, why not have it in the central heartland of the country so travel is roughly equivalent from each coast? Each coast, he means. Again, you're spot on, Walter. I actually questioned Phil on this because they do tend to go to Las Vegas. I know when I had my company in the imaging business, we never would hold a convention in Las Vegas. If the vendors would not go, they just said, hey, we are not going to Las Vegas. There's too many distractions. It's very expensive. And if I want a vacation, I'll go on a vacation. So we banned Las Vegas from our being eligible for it. But I think the same thing. I think that they could put it in Indianapolis. It doesn't have to be a major city. We're only talking about 2,000 people tops. And one of their reasoning was that because some companies do show RVs in the exhibit hall, that there are very few large cities that allow you to have motor vehicles in these big hotels. Las Vegas does. But as I explained to one of the officials, we only had 15 RVs there.
Yeah, no motorized either. No way. I think I saw one motorized.
One, the Gulfstream BT Cruiser.
Yeah.
But you cannot make decisions that impact 2,000 people because 3 vendors decide they want to bring 15 RVs. Just don't have RVs at this convention. We have RVs at the open house. You want to see people don't go to RVDA to buy RVs like they do at open house. The people who exhibit at RVDA are hoping to find some dealers for a new product or one that they maybe made some major revisions. Yeah. It is not a big part of the show. So if you canceled having the RVs at the show, that opens up Columbus, Cincinnati, Indianapolis.
Right. The reality is when you look at who was in the exhibit hall, the vast majority of them were financial organizations.
A lot of them.
Financing, floor planning, that type of thing, that, they didn't require, like if you're in McCormick Place in Chicago because of the size of the building, that's one thing that you can't replicate in another city. But that's an excellent question, Walter. And
let me see what Tony has to say here before I go to a commercial. We go to FMCA gatherings and people are very respectful, but there are a lot of veterans in that group. Well, there's a lot of veterans in RVers in general. We do the Alliance Rally every year, and I swear half of those people are veterans. A lot of veterans retire. They like the RV lifestyle. They like to travel. So you'll see that at Escapees. You'll see it. I think that's across the board on the industry, Jerry. And Jim Roy says the American flag proudly flies at our shop every day. Oh, Mr. Kessler showed up, half hour late. Hello, gentlemen. Italian wedding soup, homemade, not Chef Boyardee. Now, why did he have to take a slam when you were so nice to him in Las Vegas? You put him on camera. We gave him a lot of prime time, a lot of exposure. We didn't just say our news is brought to us by RV Business and Woodall's Campground Magazine. We did it up big for Kessler, and he takes a shot at you. First week back. All right, digest that for a minute while I play a commercial, and then we will
digest that.
Well, think what your response is going to be to it. That's probably
no, when will we see Kessler again? We probably, we
want to thank Bob Zagami and NERVDA for inviting us to sponsor their fall into winter dealership sponsor program, and we want to introduce ourselves. This is Brian and the sales team here at Lee's Auto and RV Ranch. We want to welcome all the NERVDA members to come visit us and check out our great operation. We have a tremendous amount of inventory, from small teardrops to Class A motorhomes. And also we want to introduce you to our service department, where we do full mechanical repair and body work, floors, paint work, custom paint work on anything from Class A diesel pushers to small motorhomes. We want to invite everybody down to come say hello. We're family owned and operated. We're here to help you and serve you. Good afternoon, all the New England RV dealers and NERVDA. Welcome to Lee's Auto and RV. We want to welcome everybody down for our Harvest Jubilee sale. Come on down. We want to thank Bob Zagami once again for inviting us into the NERVDA show on Wednesday night. And there's a partner he's got. Who is it? Oh, that's right, John DePietro. Oh, John DePietro! Good afternoon.
I combined two ads into one. How's that? Clever?
I got to go down there and get me one of them things.
Yeah, you do before they sell them all off.
I know. Well, I heard they're under third printing of them already.
A big price for them. And I'm glad to let you know that Lee's Auto and RV Ranch is coming back into the Boston RV and Camping Expo.
Great.
January 13 to 16, so you'll be able to meet them personally. And I think he's going to be bringing the little guy trailers. You saw that he had a whole lineup of those teardrop trailers behind them down there. He's one of their larger dealers in the country. So if you like teardrops, go down and see the large selection that Brian and Gracie and Faith have down there.
Tell people right now to, write those dates down on the calendar. It's MLK weekend, including the Monday. And, generally, January is not a busy time for hotels. So make a weekend of it, or, get 2 days. And Bob, let me ask you this. If somebody comes on a Friday afternoon and is staying over Friday night, if they see you, can they come back again on Saturday?
Yeah, they just go up to the desk on their way out and get a pass to come back in on Saturday. Yep.
Right.
Yep.
Right. But don't have anybody try to resell the ticket to get their money back, because we'll arrest them to the full extent of the law.
We'll put the big hurt on them.
Not that any of our people would ever consider doing anything like that. But we also had another list. Talk about these OBI campers that you did an interview with for our other show.
Yeah, there was one of the companies was from Arizona, but they're manufacturing them here. But the idea came out, and I apologize, I didn't even load up any pictures today. I was so busy. But they have a ruggedized lineup of trailers, a pop-up and a hybrid.
There you go with that word.
And
Oh, these are the people that were in the back of the room.
it's like Groucho Marx. The bird should come out of the ceiling and flap all around because I said ruggedized.
That was Vinny you did the interview with, right?
Right. Yep. And
The father, son, and the wife.
father, son, and the wife. And these things, you just look at these. They look like tanks.
They do.
They look like tanks. They do. Everything is rugged on them. And we were actually talking earlier on our other show. I think, and I'd be curious as to the audience answer. So we talk about ruggedized, and you're starting to see companies use the word Outlander in their new advertising of product. Jayco has them, Forest River has them. So there's this whole group of people called Outlanders who are not, they don't consider themselves part of the RV industry. And they go out and they buy Jeeps for $60,000 or $70,000 and then put $100,000 worth of extras on them, the rooftop tent, the water purification system, enhanced electrical system, Starlink television, because they don't go to campgrounds. They go out somewhere, anywhere, but they don't go to campgrounds and they don't go to RV resorts. They want to be on the outside. So they never consider themselves part of the industry. Well, we're making an approach as an industry to these people by now offering something in between that high-end person that wants that, but the person that doesn't want a traditional RV because the less expensive ones aren't built to go on the outdoors for long periods of time. So you see them offering Outlander. So this company was there looking for dealers that would appreciate what they have, because they go from 45, one was 45,000, one was 54,000, the top of the line was 84,000. Tremendous workmanship and all rugged area. The wheels were completely different.
Bob, I think they were ruggedized.
They were ruggedized. You're right. But I bet you don't know how to spell it.
That's my
Overlanders. Tony, thank you. I keep saying Outlanders, they're Overlanders. Tony is 100% right. And so we're seeing this activity. Now, I think, and Tony, you'd be a good one to comment on this because you do a lot of the reviews of everything that's out there. So the fact of the matter is, if you buy a traditional trailer or some motorhomes, you can take them to campgrounds and you can take them down the highway, but they are not designed to go off grid. So the fact that somebody might put lithium batteries in them and solar panels on the top, you can go a little bit off the highway, but you're not going to be going into the rugged mountains and way past the road. So the conventional RV can go down the highway, but it can't go off grid. The ruggedized RV can go off grid. They can go to the mountains. They go smashing through lakes, but they can also go down the highway. So Tony, tell me if I'm crazy, but I think we're going to see a group of people who don't necessarily like everything that the RV industry is putting out. They're going to take a look at the ruggedized and they're going to buy it, but they're never going to go off the highway. They look at it and say, man, this thing is built like a tank. And, you can tell when you see these things. When I walked up to them in the exhibit hall, right away, the thing that just stuck out at you, like, this is a tank. And it's going to last a long time, and you're going to be able to abuse it a lot to see it. So you're going to see overlanders, and we're going to see some overland activity at our show. We're trying to get a couple of things that might surprise you at the show this year, but we haven't confirmed them yet. But overlander is a big thing, and they actually have offsite shows for just overlanders. They had one up in New Hampshire this summer. Let's see how Tony responded here. Depends on where you want to go, but I think the major limitation is the tow vehicle. But look at how many people buy Jeeps, and the only off-roading they do is when it goes from the city street to the garage and through Starbucks. So that they have to have their Starbucks. But you're right; they buy all this heavy stuff, or they buy big 4x4 pickup trucks, and they go from the house to the supermarket. So I think so I agree. You don't say you agree with me necessarily, Tony, but do you think that we're going to see a lot of people going for these types of vehicles? And I'll tell you, if some guy's going to spend, some woman or guy is going to spend 85 grand for a ruggedized RV that isn't large. I mean, these things were in the 20. I think the biggest one was 24 feet.
24 feet, right?
Yeah. You're gonna spend $85,000 for the trailer, and you're gonna spend another $70,000 or $80,000 for the truck to pull it.
Yeah, and sometimes there's cases where the tow vehicle is more expensive than the trailer, and those trucks now, those Fords, the diesels are sometimes 90, 100 grand.
Yep.
So one thing that
look at the popularity of the Ember series, right? Ember brought out one.
Yep.
Nico's got some. Forest River's starting to bring them out. I think
Winnebago Hike.
Yep. Let's talk about the Winnebago Hike.
Yeah, I think that should be RV of the year.
Man, you're prescient, John. That's tremendous, because it was and has been, from Mr. Kessler and his team at RV Business. The Winnebago Hike 100 FLX is one of these type of heavy-duty off-road type of trailers, and they were voted RV Business of the Year from RV Business. Yep. And that's a major accomplishment. Here's Tony again. Think about this trailer at 140,000.
Oh yeah, we talked about that Palomino.
Oh, the Palomino Pause. Yeah, we showed that a couple of weeks ago, Tony. Yeah, that's another one. And Lance has got a more rugged version of one. So next year, I don't know how many of these we will see at the Boston show. We're encouraging our dealers to, stretch out a little bit and show some of these at the Boston show this year, because they are into production and they are on dealers' lots now. To have that.
Yeah. Hey, Bob, one thing that's important to point out, on a little different note, but if RVers are looking for a Christmas gift idea, can I be so bold to say Christmas? I'm okay to say Christmas, right?
Yeah.
Right. Okay. We made a point of seeing our friend Neal Portnoy in Las Vegas. And if you are looking for a unique Christmas gift idea, what is it? Portnoy Gallery?
PortnoyGallery.com.
.com. Maybe you can type that in there. He is a Worcester-based person. He's an illustrator. And I think he'll even if you send, Neal will pretty much do anything for you. But if you send him a picture of your camper or your family with the camper, he might even be able to draw that for you and get it back for you before Christmas. But if you're looking for quality stuff,
and we did post pictures this week, if you saw them, of his Wall of Fame. And how many RVs are on Neal Portnoy's Wall of Fame, John?
I think one.
And who's driving that RV?
I think you.
You're right. I have the only RV on the Portnoy Hall of Fame, but there should be more. Right. Tim brings up a good point. Intertech has tremendous quality, and they have the Overlander type of version. In fact, they call it the OVR. I asked you earlier, Tim. I don't know if you answered it. I haven't gone back up to the top there, but is the OVR in stock in Irving, Mass now? So that's a question for you. So what do some of our fans think about overlanding? Have you studied it? Have you read about it? Have you thought about it at all, or is it still too early in the exposure range or the marketing of some of these new products that are going to be hitting the dealership lots this year?
Yep, and that one that we saw that I did the video on where you were doing the interview was amazing. That every door that opened, it had 5 extensions on it, and everything fit right back in. So it doesn't have a big footprint, but boy, it's got a lot of convenience. I think that kitchen in one of those was pretty amazing, where it slid right out.
Yep, it slides out. It's got the portable combo freezer, refrigerators, and burner stools.
Pretty amazing stuff.
They're very functional, and statistics, and there was a lot of talk of this at RVDA. The average age is dropping rapidly. For years, it might go 20 years to go from 45 to 50, from 55 to 65, and then it might take 20 years to get their average age down to 45 to 35. And now I'm 45 to 55, and now we're in that 35 range. But we're dropping quickly. You talk to any dealer out there, and they will tell you that their new buyers are the Gen Zs. They want the Class B motorhome. They want the single axle, double axle trailers.
Yep.
They're buying at that end of the marketplace and in big numbers to do it.
Yep.
Yes.
Exactly.
Okay. Tim says, yes, the OBR is in stock. So if you're out by Irving, go take a look at the OBR and any of these dealers that have these Overlander type units.
Now, I know you're in Florida now, and you're not, you're forgetting a little bit of geography. But the reality is you have to go to Irving as a special trip. You're never out by Irving. Irving's in the middle of nowhere. Now, you may be planning on going from somewhere to somewhere and go through Irving. But the reality of somebody being near Irving on a regular day, not very good.
Foliage. You know how many people go out Route 2? They're on Route 2. You come around the big
people on Route 2 are moose and deer. There are no people on Route 2.
People go Route 2 all the way from Boston to Tanglewood to Pittsfield and Lee.
Yeah.
And
well, then they're lost.
Just to look at
a detour. Now, what I will say, what's worth going out for, if you're going to be out in Irving, is that candy shop right next door.
Right, Tim Weigel owns the candy shop, and I can't think of the name of it, but it's right. Something Station Chocolates,
something like
Station
that.
Chocolates?
But I think it's real pink. But if you stop in at Tim's, he'll tell you exactly where it is because it's his wife, and they make.
And if you buy
phenomenal chocolate there,
if you buy an OBR trailer from him, he'll give you a pound of his wife's chocolates, which are very good, by the way.
So you're just creating a deal for him,
right?
Okay.
So Zagami said, if I buy this, you'll give me a pound of your wife's chocolates.
Tim, you can't get anywhere without going through Irving.
Yes,
right. Yeah, especially if you're going from Athol especially if you're going from Athol to Greenfield. I mean, it's the Mecca. But the beauty of going to Tim's is he's got stuff on that lot. But here's the other thing with Tim's. If you're looking for a part that you can't find at
Irving Station, not Station Chocolates, Irving Station.
Irving Station. Go in the back room of Tim's, and he has stuff, especially if you've got an older trailer. He goes out and buys all the leftover stuff, so he has all the parts. Right, Tim? You can't get anywhere without going through Irving. Anyway, what else? We got a couple other good points that were up there on that list, Bob.
We talked about Blue Compass. We talked about the glamping show. Glamping, by the way, has hit. I'd say it has hit mainstream. There was an announcement this week and we've often talked about the real estate investment trust, buying campgrounds, people like Blue Water Development, building campgrounds, building luxury resorts. This past week, we had the first known case of a real estate investment trust buying a glamping resort that only had something like 17 of the glamping tents. And this, again, is a REIT that invested in hotels and motels. So that company, with all of that money to spend, is looking at the glamping resorts and the glamping campgrounds, if you will, as a major addition to what they would call the indoor hospitality business as they discover the outdoor hospitality. And when you see trends like that starting, well, it's not a trend yet, but when you see activity like that, it's going to quickly become a trend because of the exposure that these glamping facilities are getting nationwide. So you're going to see more of them start to pick up the glamping tents. I sent a note over to Jeremiah Burkowski, a good friend at Brinkley RV, who's in charge of marketing, because I saw him post something about their first unit, which I thought was very nice, John. Do you realize that they named that first unit after me? Did you pick
Model
up
Z.
on that?
Model Z.
Huh?
Model
It's,
Z.
it's the Model Z.
Yeah.
Model Z.
In fact,
So I asked her if they
I was there when they pulled the curtain down on it and showed it to the public for the very first time. And it would have had Zagami, but there was a window right next to Z. So they just cut it off with
couldn't fit the whole thing on.
Model Z. It couldn't fit the whole name.
Well, I wanted to see if we could have a scoop tonight if they have yet to announce a dealer in New England. Somebody's going to have it. I mean, there is absolutely no question.
There's no question.
I don't
There's
know.
No question.
Don't know who it will be, but they were not ready to announce that just yet.
When you look at that background of the people that are involved in that company, they've got decades of RV experience, including Fenich and Fenich.
Yep.
Who are the masterminds behind Grand Design and Keystone.
Yep. We did have a chance to visit with our good friend Earl B. Hunter Jr.
Yep.
And John did a video with him. Earl has started Black Folks Camp 2. It's an educational consulting kind of firm to open up the doors for more Black people to go camping. It's not a hard sell type of thing. It's more or less saying to the RV industry, do you guys realize how much money you're leaving on the table by not advertising to Black people, by not advertising on urban radio? Black people spend $1.7 trillion on outdoor gear and activities every year. And as he said to the audience full of dealers, he said, how many of you have ever advertised your dealership on urban radio? They do rock, they do country, they do news. Not a single hand in the room went up. So I've had conversations with Gary Edgar this week, and depending on Earl's schedule, I'm going to try to get him in for the Boston show. But he
puts on a show.
He's a real what's the word I want? Theatrical.
He's the P.T. Barnum.
Yeah, he is. And if you don't know Earl's background, Earl was the VP of sales for Sylvan Sport that made that small aluminum trailer that became a pop-up or a utility trailer several years ago. It's been out there probably for about 10 years now. When Earl joined Sylvan Sport as the VP of sales, they were doing $857,000 a year. When Earl left to start Black Folks Camp 2, they were doing $17 million a year. And that's in an RV company that I'll bet 90% of our audience, as well informed as they are about the RV industry, may never even have known the product. So he is going to be successful. He's just one of those guys going to be successful at whatever he does. And when he left and before he did Black Folks Camp 2, he spent the summer and he took his son with him on a trip to say goodbye to all the Sylvan dealers. And he said, he jokes about it, but he said, I had to go all the way to New Mexico before I found a Black person in a campground. And his son said, Dad, we're the only Black people here. What's going on here? So that solidified it, that he said, we're going to introduce camping and RVing. And there are several Black RV groups. There's a high-end group with luxury motorhomes, North American African-American RV Club. So they're there, but they've never been approached as an industry. We're doing better. We've got more marketing going out to Blacks and the Spanish community. We're doing better at it, but I hope I can get Earl in for the Boston show. And if we do, you are not going to want to.
No, you want to see that.
Yeah.
Want to see that. Did we play that video yet? Did we play it last week?
With Earl, we didn't. I don't think we did.
No. Well, we got room for it on this show next week. We'll
make sure we play all of our video stuff. We got about 6 minutes. There's a couple of shows coming out. If you followed the RVers, we had Anthony Talley on the show years ago. Yeah. And the RVers is starting their 4th season this week. So look for the RVers. It's streaming and it's on television. And kudos to the folks at NERVDA again. They have launched, I don't think you've seen this in public yet. It was a media release for the industry. But on March 1st, they are actually launching an RV reality show. You want to talk a little bit about that, John?
Well, it's interesting. What they've done is found, I think, 9 couples or 10 couples, and they're going to tape it over a period of time, and somebody's going to win. Now, what they're going to win is $10,000. How they're going to win it, I don't know. The release didn't tell us that. But there are people from all different walks of life, including our friends Mike and Susan from RV Blogger. And I believe it's going to be available on the internet on their YouTube channel, from what I can tell. But when NRVTA does something, they do it first class.
Yeah, it's very creative. I don't know if they're going to all start in one place and have a destination. Whoever breaks down the least or can fix their unit faster than the next person, whoever reaches that endpoint gets the $10,000. But we'll keep you posted, and we'll have the folks from NRVTA. We'll have them on as we get closer to March to talk about that. So you've got RVing Today, which was the old Rolling On TV show. That's the #1 RV lifestyle show in the country, and they just signed a deal with Nexstar, is it? Yeah. They just opened up a ton of new stations all across the country. And you've got the NRVTA reality show coming up. You got the RVers. There's a couple of new consumer magazines out there. So another thing that I got out of RVDA, this industry is not going to slow down. Gas may go up, inflation may go up, but we are here to stay. Let me tell you, in all the dealers, we're reporting still good traffic on the lot. They were still getting their customers financed. So it's still going to be a very thing. Two kudos before we get off here. Yeah, we're getting close. Congratulations to Chris Andro, who is coming off the RVDA board of directors. Mike Piero was chairman this year. Chris was the chairman, so he has 1 year as past chair, and he's coming off from his service. And Jason and Michelle picked up the slack at the home office down there in Southern Connecticut at Hemlock Hill RV, while Chris did a tremendous amount of volunteer work for the industry over the last probably 10 years that he's been associated with the board. But have no fear, because New England is still represented. Congratulations to Frank Roberts for being appointed to the board of directors. And of course, Frank and his dad have been involved in the business for a long time, but this is Frank's first stint at the board. And if you know Frank Roberts, he's going to shoot right through all the ranks and all the positions. And Frank Roberts will be the chairman of the RVDA board of directors probably in, I'll give him 5 or 6 years that he do it. But it's a tremendous commitment, and we love to see our dealers doing that. And that's how they stay very close to the business. What's happening with other RV dealers, they're very close to the manufacturers. They know what they're doing, and they contribute a lot to the industry, which then results in better service for our customers, hopefully, better parts availability, better education.
We also need to say a special thank you to our friend Uncle Bernie for sitting in last week, and to Bill Sell, who is our man behind the scenes, our producer extraordinaire, and who told us that we did that interview in the show last week.
See, we can't remember from 1 week to the next.
Must have been already at the all-you-can-eat buffet.
Last week we were in the middle of Las Vegas, in the middle of the show, and we carved out some time for it. So it's kind of crazy. But leave it to Bill to put us back on track. Tim says 11,000 plus cars a day drive through Irvingtown. Holy Christmas.
However, they don't stop.
Well, some do, because Tim's selling it. He's selling a ton of RVs up there in little old Irving.
Right.
Don't forget, he was the number 4 dealer in the country for Intech last year.
Yep.
Number 4 dealer.
That is amazing. You know, he doesn't have a huge
in Irving, Mass, where nobody goes, according to DePietro.
Right. Well, they go to Tim's.
Yeah.
They're not going there for any other reason.
See your brother on here earlier?
Yeah, he said something about Blackstone Grill. I'd still tell him, go interview Todd Emerson, and then we'll get him on with more regularity.
Michael, hi, guys. I've been cooking on my Blackstone Grill. Okay. Did he invite you over when he cooks on the Blackstone Grill?
Actually, he invited us over last week, and I did all the cooking on his Blackstone grill.
Oh, you didn't do
Hey,
the pizza, you didn't do the
know what?
pizza ovens?
Well, we got that, but the Blackstone grill is the new toy. We got to do a cooking show some night, or next time I take the grill out. If we get another,
that'd be a good idea. We've never done a cooking show.
we do. You know what? And I know
Well,
Walter has.
if we're gonna do a cooking show, we got to get Palange. We got to get the Coles.
Yep, the Coles with the pizza.
Boses. I mean, when they go camping, it looks like the
They're not roughing it.
The Golden Corral purvey by the time you get out all the food.
They're not roughing it, and we're already overtime. See, we start talking about food, and we get carried away.
That's true. All right, sounds good.
Thank you, everyone,
for the fire. Thanks for joining the fireside chat tonight. And
our audience is the best.
You are fantastic. So Rhonda and Joe, Frank, and I forget his wife's name, and Jason and Lisa, start thinking about a cooking show, and we'll have you guys. We'll have all 6 of you on, and you can talk about recipes or all the good stuff you do on cooking outside.
I mean, they'll probably be camping right up until New Year's, so they've got plenty of time to record it and send it to us.
Yep.
That's all.
RVing in New England is sponsored by our friends at Lee's Auto RV Ranch in Ellington, Connecticut. Conveniently located between Hartford, Connecticut and Sturbridge, Massachusetts, just off Route 84. Visit this family-owned dealership that sells new and pre-owned RVs, pre-owned pickup trucks for your new trailer or fifth wheel, and the latest in ATVs and powersports products. Now in their 28th year of serving outdoor enthusiasts throughout the Northeast, they offer a 28,000 square foot facility and a 50,000 pound Mohawk lift that can handle up to the largest diesel pusher motorhomes. Lee's also offers a full body shop and collision repair services. Visit Lee's Auto RV Ranch at 171 West Road, Ellington, Connecticut, or call them at 833-429-9397. Always online at www.leesautoranch.com.
This edition of RVing in New England was a presentation of the New England RV Dealers Association. Thanks for watching, and be sure to like us on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram.